All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Harachak Wadash. Double honors being to the apostles and others at Great Millstone who rule well and taught us this 100% truth. Much peace and blessings be unto you, hopeful, light up the vision out this word of thought, truth, and sincerity. To all you Akim say Shalom. I am the Akira. I am from the servants Yahweh, Yahweh Shai camp, coming in with the quick lesson entitled "The Lord Will Have His Men's Backs." I repeat, the Lord will have His men's backs. Which I've been trying to get this lesson on since yesterday, but tons of distractions. I've been recording this lesson for several times actually. So Lord will is the last time I record it and I'll be able to upload it. But I just wanted to tell this lesson: the Lord will have His men's backs, and that is through the form of spiritual power, which the Lord will bestow upon His men, the 144,000 servants, the prophets. So this is the book of Isaiah, the 41st chapter, which really this lesson really comes in from the Bible verse generator website where you get a random verse of the day. But I'm going to start off with verse 8. Verse 8, it says, "But thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham my friend." I wish that goes to show that the Lord is only dealing with the Israelites and has been dealing with the Israelites since, even before the beginning of time actually, as all things are predestinated. But if I can get a quick piece of doubt in the book of Deuteronomy, the 14th chapter, verse, 1. Hey, because the Lord has never been dealing with you heathen. So that bogus idea of, within the so-called Christian church that you set the believers that really come from these heathen nations, through your blood, through your spirit. The idea that the Lord will protect you in these times, that's bogus. That's bull. All right, the Lord's never been dealing with you. Hey, He's only been dealing with the Israelites. So this is the book of Deuteronomy, the 14th chapter, verse 1. It says, "You are the children of the Lord your power." And that's directed into the Israelites because, within the first 5 books of Moses, the Lord was heavy with our people. So ye shall not cut yourselves, nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead. And that's a commandment given unto us. The book of Psalms, the 147th chapter, even goes into, I believe, verse 20. "Unto Jacob have I shown my statutes, and have not dealt so with any other nation." See, so, the Lord has never been dealing with the nations on the level the Lord has been dealing with us. And that goes to show that He actually loves us, that He gave us, this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, these ways of righteousness that please the Lord and teach us how to live. It promotes life. So, the Lord loves us, man. And not you heathen out there. Hey, because you heathen are vain. All right, when it goes into, the heathen are as nothing, but be like in the spittle. That's because you guys are vain, and you guys be doing these whack-ass customs like these Hamites. You guys be serving these false gods. The Philistines serving a damn fish god. All right, a freaking fish god, man. Just hilarious. But, Deuteronomy, the 14th chapter. Yeah, and all that goes to show you that, you so-called Christians, you guys ain't the children of the Lord. All right, because not only are you guys a bunch of heathens, all right, non-Israelites, but you guys don't even believe. You guys even have the spirit to not even believe that the laws are still intact. You guys believe that they're done away with. So you guys could eat pork and pork rinds and pray on it and commit adultery with your neighbor's wife and think nothing of it and smoke some weed and say, "Nah, the Lord will forgive me." That's ridiculous. So that goes to show you that the Lord ain't dealing with you, man. So because you guys don't believe in the laws. Well, when the laws are clearly still here, Yahweh Shai said, "I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them." Fulfill meaning to complete them. And what was Yahweh Shai? An example as to how should we live by, right? So Yahweh Shai did the commands. We're supposed to do them too. But digressing back, this is verse 2 right at the point. "For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy power, and the Lord hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto Himself, above all the nations that are upon the earth." You see, so the Lord's only been dealing with the Israelites and has been dealing with the Israelites, since the beginning or before the beginning, like I said. But if I can get a definition out for that word chosen, it means to pick out or select someone or something as being the best or most appropriate of two or more alternatives. So the Lord chose the nation of Israel as the best and most appropriate to be their servants out of all nations, man. And even within the chosen nation, the Lord has a chosen elect, which are, the best of the best. And even within that elect, that 1/3, you have the 144,000 servants, the prophets. And those men have been separated, sanctified to the Lord, to do the Lord's bidding, which, it's a gruesome fate, actually, if you will. Gruesome it is because, hey, although we haven't, been attacked, the water how about Shemim Hoshai, Lord, will we continue to be protected. But back in the ancient world, Jake had hands on us, man. Look at Yahweh Shai, what he had to go through. And it was all, with the agreement of our people. Yeah, crucify him and whatnot. You know how Jake was. So, Jake would put hands upon us, and we get slew right then and there. So, those same men that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord, those same men are the people whom the Lord will be dealing with on, and protect on this side. And that's through the form of spiritual power. So going back to Isaiah, the 41st chapter, it says in verse 9, Thou whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and called thee from the chief men thereof, and said unto thee, Thou art my servant, I have chosen thee, and not cast thee away. So the Lord has chosen, the men of the Lord, his men. Lord, where were those men? The Lord chose us. Lord will, Lord willing. Fear not thou, fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy power. I will strengthen thee, yea, I will help thee, yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. Verse 11, the point right here. Behold, all they that were incensed against thee shall be ashamed and confounded. The key word right there was incensed. That's the key word. Because when you look at that word incense, it ain't talking about, scented candlesticks and whatnot. Now, incense is beautiful, to keep certain spirits away. But in this case, when it goes into the word incense, it really means to, bear with me. All right, it means to make very angry, to be enraged. And the sentence, for example, is, I was absolutely incensed. Another definition would be, make someone very angry. She was incensed by the accusations. So who are the incensed that are against us? Hey, you wicked people, man. And you could apply that to the wicked 2/3 of our people and the rest of you heathens, starting off with Esau, Edom. And actually, beginning it out, it's all through Esau, Edom, man. So, hey, because he's going to come in hard with this, high advanced knowledge you be seeing working behind the scenes. You have the robot dog squadrons out there. You see Amika, you see Sophia, the AI robot, and you see how lifelike they are, man. You see the human features that they actually have with their face. They could do expressions. The way they speak, the way they move, the way they interact, when they're idle, it's like they're a human. So that's a technology, and you also got Disney out there with their acrobatic robots for these stunts that they be putting into these movies. But if you see that's the technology that Esau has, you could only imagine what he's gonna come out with in these times when he comes in like a flood. And that's what the super soldiers as well, which they're gonna be armed to the T, man. Armed to the T, and cloaked up with good armor as well. They got the best steroids. They're jacked as hell. They've been training so hard. They're tough, man. And when you join the military, you have to accept to be a killing machine. Using your own fists, as a last resort. All right, you have these people with stolen valor out there that be putting in the idea that you don't have to be a killing machine. No, you have to be a killing machine in the military. So, when Esau comes in hard, the task is going to be to eliminate you. No questions asked. But going on, it says, Behold, all they that were incensed against thee shall be ashamed and confounded. They shall be as nothing, and they that strive with thee shall perish. When we look to that word perish, what does it mean? Suffer death, typically in a violent, sudden, or untimely way. And what do you think when you think about a sufferable death in a violent, sudden, or untimely manner? Spiritual power. And you look into these various movies, like Brightburn, for example, how you have a little kid, just running around rampant and slaying everybody. It's in a violent fashion, and it's sudden. All right, when he was killing the cops, that was very sudden. He had that super speed to be able to, subdue them, if you will. I'm gonna leave it like that. Being more appropriate here, but also untimely. So that's an example. That's really what that word perish means. So all you, the wicked will perish. They shall be as nothing, and they that strive meaning to fight against us, with thee shall perish. Thou shalt seek them and shalt not find them. Even them that contended with thee They that war against thee shall be as nothing, and as a thing of naught. For I, the Lord thy power, will hold thy right hand, saying unto thee, fear not, I will help thee. All right, so man, that's the spiritual power right there. That's spiritual freaking power. You know, if I can get out the same verses but in a different translation. Bakwasha, bear with me in the 41st chapter. In verse 10 it says, do not be afraid, I am with you. I'm your power. Let nothing terrify you. I will make you strong and help you. I will protect you and save you. And strong, you know, strength is a spiritual power as well. Hey, think of Samson, man. Hey, Samson, you know, the scripture's going to how the Spirit of the Lord was upon him, and immediately he slew 1,000, you know, Philistines on them sick, and it was 1,000 with the jawbone, donkey jawbone. Also, they account when he came out of the city, the city, they sought to kill him, so they closed the gate, but he went out, he left that night, and he literally broke the door and took it with him. He broke the gate and took it with him. And the scriptures always say when an example that happens, it always makes a mention the Spirit of the Lord was upon him to do that stuff, because, you know, it's really to the Lord, man. So that we receive this power. So I will make you strong and help you. I will protect you and save you. And you could also think of that as invincibility, which is a spiritual power in itself. You know, think of say you know, you're about to get beheaded. The Lord could have it to where when that blade, you know, hits you, that blade shatters into freaking pieces like a mirror, because your neck will be hardened. It'll be invincible. You'll be invincible. So those who are angry with you will know the shame of defeat. Those who fight against you will die. Point blank, period. And it tells you that, you know, in the most simplest way. You know, if Esau read this, you know, out in public, everybody will be freaking out. They call this extremism. Well, you know, of course, it's really a threat. But, you know, it's the scriptures. It's really the Lord, you know. Can't do nothing about it. It's a prophecy. It's prophecy. So it goes on to say, those who fight against you will die and will disappear from the earth. I am the Lord your power. I strengthen you and say, do not be afraid. I will help you. But going back to the King James Version, I want to get out the book of Isaiah, the 59th chapter, verse 19. Really the main point I wanted to get out. In verse 19 it says, so shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun, when the enemy shall come in like a flood. And that word enemy translates to the word adversary, which that word adversary translates to the word devil. All right, Esau's a damn devil, you know. And the scriptures even go into the book of Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, how for the perpetual hatred that he has upon his brother Jacob, and for the blood he shed upon our people, hey, you know, you'll be recompensed in like manner, actually double, you know, twofold. All right, the scriptures even go into how it rewarded her at double as she rewarded you. Really paraphrasing him right there. And if I'm mistaken, that was in the book of Revelation, 18th chapter. But it goes on to say, when the enemy, that's Esau, shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against them. All right, so the Spirit of the Lord, it's all through the Spirit of the Lord. But if I can get the definition out for the word standard, it goes back to the Hebrew word nawash, and it ain't noose or nus. All right, that's the Yiddish pronunciation. It's really nawash. That's a proper pronunciation. But the outline of biblical usage states to flee, escape, to take flight, depart, disappear. Hey, like Yahushai. Hey, when the Jews started throwing stones at him in the synagogue, what did Yahushai do? Hey, he disappeared. You know, he turned invisible with that spiritual power. Hey, he fled out the hands of the wicked, man. You know, because he could have died right there. Hey, you know, stoning is a brutal way to go out as well. All right, you know, blunt trauma. You know, so you will be able to flee. And when it says to flee out of what? The hands of the wicked, the hands of our enemy. Hey, because when you read these various accounts of war in the scriptures, and it goes into how they were delivered into so and so was delivered into our hands, that means that they will suffer defeat. You know, they will be subdued under us. Or if Israel was delivered into the hands of Babylon and whatnot, that really meant that we'd be destroyed, we'd be defeated against the Babylonians. You know, so basically to flee, nawash, that word standard, it means to be given that power to flee, because ain't no way you're gonna fend off, you know, 80 freaking troops, you know, armed up to the T, and you're just a simple man right there. You're very frail. You have nothing. You have no protection. You have no weapon. You have no armor. You have nothing. It's just you. So the Lord will defend you through that spiritual power. All right, which spiritual power exists and has existed, man. All right, the Lord's about to put that spirit on this earth again, so you could have super speed. What's that one word? I forget that one word, but where you shoot laser beams out of your eyes. You also have a super strength. You be able to leap, fly, etc. Hey, the scriptures are going to Isaiah the 40th chapter, verse 31. They that wait upon the Lord, and those are the servants of prophets. Hey, all we do is wait, man. All we're doing is waiting, enduring. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Renew because, that's really how we're supposed to be. We're supposed to have spiritual power, but in this flesh, in this frail body, we can't. We don't. But if I can get a not definition, but a precept out. This is David speaking, going into that spiritual power, which him writing that's a little account on the earth of actual spiritual power in real life. So this is the book of Psalms, which really it's in the book of Samuel, but he also wrote in the book of Psalms, the 18th chapter, verse 34, or actually Salakia, verse 32. All right. It is Yahweh that girdeth me with strength. See, through the Lord. All right, Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai. It is Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai that girdeth me with strength and maketh my way perfect. He maketh my feet like hinds feet. And whenever you see a gazelle out in the forest, or like in the forest in the desert, which actually the Middle East comes with forests here and there. But digressing, going back to the point, when you see a gazelle run for its life, it goes fast. It's like a leopard. It runs hella fast. So that's what it means by hinds feet. We're gonna have super speed. So King David has super speed, man. He maketh my feet like hinds feet, and sets me upon my high places. He teaches my hands to war, and just like how you might automatically learn the tons of forms of martial arts, or why not forget? If I'm saying it's kung fu. But he learned martial arts just by downloading all the data into his mind. We're gonna learn to fight too. Somebody can take martial arts. We're not gonna know how it's gonna be. It could be toward the Lord. It could just automatically give you the knowledge of how to fight. So that's an example. But he teaches my hands to war, so that in both steel is broken my arms. Going into how just one hit, we would have break anything. We will break through concrete walls, brick walls, even metal walls. Like King David, he broke a bow of steel, man. Can you break a bow of steel with your hand? Hell no. All right, it's hard enough to freaking break through wood, man. It's hard enough to break through a little wooden plank. You have the guys in karate, if I'm mistaken, it's the guys in karate. But what they do is that they hold a plank, and the other guy, smashes it with his bare fist. That takes effort. That takes time to practice to master. So King David, the idea of King David breaking through a bow of steel, that has to be some sort of power. That's spiritual power right there, super strength. Thou hast also given me the shield of salvation, and thy right hand hath holding me up, and thy gentleness hath made me great. Thou hast enlarged my steps under me, that my feet did not slip. I pursued mine enemies and overtaken them. Neither did I turn again till they were consumed. I wounded them up that they were not able to rise. They are fallen under my feet. All right. For thou hast girded me with strength unto the battle. Thou subdued under me those that rose up against me. And he's going to rise up against us. And any other, person that thinks they even come our way, like the heathen. All right, some Moabite, tries to fight back, throwing stones at you out of all the rubble. You're going to go for him. And best believe we're going to go for you, Jake, too, man. All right, begin in my sanctuary. The other apostle Gabar quoted that, too. We're going to get on you, Jake, as well, as you Edomites. When you look into the word, so like when we go into the book of Ezekiel, the 9th chapter, and it goes to the 6 men, the 6 angels that the Lord was speaking to, you could also apply those angels to the prophets, who will be the ones to receive the spiritual power, because that word prophet means messenger. And what is an angel? A messenger. Not only that, but in the book of Galatians, the 4th chapter, if I'm mistaken, verse 14 or 16, the Apostle Paul made the mention how you have received me as an angel of the Lord. So we're also likening the angels, but in the flesh. So with that being said, hey, we're also gonna get down on you, Jake, man. We're gonna slay utterly old and young, women and child. No remorse, as the scriptures say, as the scriptures say, because going on down in the book of Ezekiel, 9th chapter, the Lord says something very terrible, man. So this is Ezekiel, the 9th chapter, verse 8. It says, "And it came to pass while they were slaying them, and I was left, that I fell upon my face and cried and said, Our Lord Yahweh, wilt thou destroy all the residue of Israel, and thy pouring out of the fury upon Jerusalem?" And that word fury means anger, man. It means rage, fierceness, wild or violent anger. But it goes on to say in verse 9, "Then said he unto me, The iniquity of the house of Israel and Judah is exceeding great, and the land is full of blood, and the city full of perverseness. For they say the Lord hath forsaken the earth, and the Lord seeth not. And as for me also, mine eye, the heavenly Father's eye, shall not spare." Ooh, see that? Shall not spare. "Neither will I have pity, but I will recompense their way upon their head. And behold, the man clothed with linen, which had the inkhorn by his side, reported this manner, saying, I have done as thou hast commanded me." Thou hast commanded me. As a commandment. Hey, if we be those men with the spiritual power, basically we be spirits created for vengeance, to appease the Lord's wrath, to appease him that made him, to appease the wrath of him that made him. So, basically they're just doing what the Lord commanded us to do. And it's to get down, with that power. So going back to Isaiah, the 41st chapter. So, you wicked people, the enemy that comes up against us in these times, will suffer, damage because of that spiritual power that the Lord will bestow upon us, Lord, with those men. So this is verse 14. In Isaiah, the 41st chapter, verse 14, it says, "Fear not, thou worm Jacob, and ye men of Israel. I will help thee, saith the Lord, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. Behold, I will make thee a new sharp threshing instrument having teeth." A new sharp threshing instrument, which that word instrument is synonymous to the word weapon, a weapon of war. So sharp threshing instrument, and that word to thresh, if I get the definition out. Alright, if I can get the word thrash, because thresh is another word for thrash. It means to beat a person or animal repeatedly and violently with a stick or whip, moving a violent and convulsive way. Hit something hard and repeatedly. Defeat heavily in a contest or match. Move in a fast or uncontrolled way. A violent or noisy movement, typically involving hitting something repeatedly. See that? See that as spiritual power. Imagine that super speed, and with super speed, you're just repeatedly hitting somebody like the Flash. So that's what it means to thresh, to thrash. Thrash, same thing. "I will make thee a new sharp threshing instrument having teeth," which, if I'm mistaken, that word teeth really means strength, having strength. "Thou shalt thresh or thrash the mountains and beat them small, and shall make the hills as chaff. Thou shalt fan them, and the wind shall carry them away, and the whirlwind shall scatter them. And thou shalt rejoice in the Lord, and shalt glory in the Holy One of Israel." Hey, because really the strength cometh from heaven, as the scriptures say. Hey, the victory comes from the Lord. Hey, it's going to be a 1 against 1,000. You're going to have Hakim, literally, going toe-to-toe. It's going to be a 1v1,000, 1v1,000, going toe-to-toe against these highly trained individuals that are packed, They're ready to unload, a weapon, the weaponry. But what? We're going to be like Superman out here. Actually, 100 times better than Superman. Because at the same time, we don't know how the spiritual power is going to be. These shows, these movies, these cartoons, these animes, they give us an idea of what it's going to be, but we could only imagine. It could be, there's different powers we can't even, fathom. See? So the Lord will have his men's backs through that form of spiritual power. All right, so I'm ending off in the book of Revelation, the 3rd chapter, verse 10. It says, "Because thou hast kept the word of my patience." Yeah, the prophets have been doing the will of the Lord. So because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So the Lord's gonna have our backs, man. It's like we're doing a solid to the Lord. Hey, or the Lord's gonna do a solid for us. If we do this for Him, He's gonna protect us. That's how the Lord works, man. But I just want to do a quick lesson on that. Touch on that, and hopefully this lesson was edifying. That's the next one I say Shalom.